Overland is your typical family road trip, if that road trip included tons of monsters and some highway robbery. The premise is rather simple. You begin your journey on the East Coast, and you need to get to the West Coast. Unfortunately, civilization is in shambles and fungal-looking creatures have sprung up from the ground. And of course, the poor souls who've managed to survive aren't the most trustworthy of folk. Part Fire Emblem and part Oregon Trail, Overland is a randomly generated tactical adventure game that has you traveling from area to area, scrounging for gas, supplies, weapons, and meeting fellow survivors. Once you've looted an area, you can drive on out and continue your journey across the United States. But that sounds easier than it is. If you run out of gas, you'll end up stranded on the side of the road, surrounded by monsters. If you leave your car unattended, another survivor could steal it, and you'll be forced to continue on foot. If you get surrounded in your car, you'll be forced to fight your way out. And if everyone in your party dies, then it's game over. Combat against both humans and monsters resembles a simplified tactical adventure game. Each character can travel a certain amount of tiles per turn to gather supplies or attack enemies. Unlike XCOM or Fire Emblem though, these interactions are rather simple. Survivors all have the same base attack, and there's not a leveling system. Most enemies only take a few hits to kill, but so do your survivors. This makes positioning key as you scour the area for supplies. In most cases though, it's best to avoid combat altogether. Supplies are limited and fragile. Bottles, for example, can be used as weapons but will break after one attack. And since the bigger enemies take more than one hit to kill, your best bet is to stay out of their way and make for a quick exit. There's also an element of stealth to encounters. If you leave the car running, the monsters will hear you. If you move debris, the monsters will hear you. And of course, if you fight a monster or break a bottle, the monsters will hear you. Because only dogs can fight back empty-handed, you need to be quiet and plan your approach defensively. If you do manage to clear a path to the exit, you can hop in your car and escape as long as you have enough gas. From here, you are taken to a world map where you can pick your next destination. Most of the time, you are given two options. Some of these places are high risk and offer better rewards, while others are safe but have fewer resources. While others may house survivors, which can either be a deadly encounter or a safe haven. Managing resources and planning your moves becomes crucial. Should I send Steven out to fetch more gas while Andrew leaves the car running, or should they go together? Will Hillary have enough time to grab that medkit before the monster catches her? My car only fits 3 and I have 4 survivors. Who do I leave behind? These are the kind of questions you'll be asking yourself every step of the way. You'll be constantly weighing the risks against the rewards. And if you misjudge a situation, that could be the end of your run. If you make a wrong turn and your team gets killed off, you're forced to start from the beginning. But the game truly shines the further along you get. You get more and more desperate as the monsters start to greatly outnumber your team. Sometimes you have to leave a survivor behind if you want the rest of your group to survive. You feel as though you're barely scraping by, and when you do survive against all odds, it's all the more satisfying. Unfortunately, you will die. This can be frustrating, but because characters, locales, and interactions are all randomly generated, every playthrough has its own unique story, and that means there's always a good reason to keep playing. If this game sounds interesting to you, you can pick it up in first access at overland-game.com for $20. The full release is still a ways out, but it's definitely worth keeping an eye on. And if you've tuned in every day this week for my Indie Mix coverage, thank you so much. We love doing this kind of stuff, and we can't do it without you. If you enjoyed this video, or maybe one of the other Indie Mix videos, consider subscribing. It really helps us out. Thank you, and until next time.